Hi y'all, welcome back. I'm going to try to make this video as short as possible, but it's a big process, so I'm going to go as fast as I can. But I want to show you how I put together a set of batteries for top balancing. I'm kind of worn down right now. Yesterday I got the roof put on, the solar shed, because we expected rain last night, and I was fortunate. It didn't happen, but I pushed real hard yesterday to get that roof done, and it's all dried in now and ready to go. The most important thing that happened yesterday, though, is I had the opportunity yesterday to help a friend There's a couple of people that I worked for many years ago, and they've been friends ever since. Delightful people. But she suffers from a degenerative lung condition and is on oxygen. And they managed to take her home with a couple of oxygen generators that they have plumbed in together so that they can keep her oxygen levels up. But he called me and said that he was concerned about what would happen if the power went out. They have oxygen bottles they can switch to, but the oxygen needs are so great that the bottles don't last very long. And he was looking for a recommendation for a generator. And, you know, the Honda generator's a good choice. Be careful to protect the electronics of the oxygen concentrators. But these are the little thin cutting boards that you can get from Amazon. I think I've showed these on previous videos. I'm using them as an additional insulator. And back to my story, I told him that if the power goes out, that Honda generator's fine, but I have something that is easier to get started up, and I took him my solar generator. I asked him how many watts those units use, and they use 600 watts, two of them, which means that with the capacity of the solar generator and the booster pack, and if you haven't watched those videos, those videos are on the channel, both the solar generator and the booster pack. Now, it's not actually being used as a solar generator in this case. It's actually just being used as a battery storage with an inverter. And with the capacity that it has, he should easily get 5 hours of power to run the concentrators in case of a power failure. And if the power failure lasts longer than 5 hours, I encouraged him to go ahead and have that Honda generator and to use it. But when those Honda generators need to be refilled with fuel, you have to turn them off. And And this would be a really good, I believe when you're talking about life support, that the old adage that we use in technical diving and other things, aviation, of 2 is 1 and 1 is none. Which means we really need to have good redundancy, because you can't afford a failure. Now I'm going to reach down in here and pull this rod up to get into the hole. So I got the honor of taking that into town to him, and I got to see my dear friend. She's not feeling too well, but she's always delightful. I really should have a better solution for this. This is always time consuming to get this last one in here. And I certainly hope that they will not need that solar generator. I certainly hope that they don't experience a power failure, but if they do, they will have the solar generator, they will have the Honda generator, and they have some oxygen bottles as well. Get in there. Come on, baby, get in. Oh, yeah, now you're in there. Now you're in there. One more. And we're in. Okay. Now, in any case, all that led up to a lot of work. And I wanted to get this video made this morning because my delightful videographer is going to be gone. And so this morning I got up early and built this box up. Got all this done the same way that I did in the video I have about installing all this in the box, although much quicker. I'm getting faster at it. And the point of wanting to get this done is this battery got completed yesterday, and it needs to get used down and capacity tested. And I'm going to capacity test it by putting the energy out of this one into top balancing this one. I just believe that we need to be as frugal as we can with our power. Now I'm going to set this, I don't want to put a lot of compression on here, so I'm setting this torque wrench to just over 1 Newton meter, which is all that it can, that's as low as it can go and still actually register some force. It doesn't actually click, but it does move. It's just, I'm just trying to give the bare minimum. It's just restraint. It's not a big, strong compression. I just don't want these bus bars to have any force on the terminals when the cells attempt to expand. I'm just trying to keep them from expanding in a way that would put force on these terminals. And yes, there are lots of different ideas about how this should be done. This is the way I'm doing it. And I'm really satisfied with this method. And I've noticed that when I top balance, right now these cells are at about 50%. See, I just get a little movement there, and that's when I'm going to stop. That's just like 1 Newton meter. And when this gets to full and I loosen it, it will not be much over 1 Newton meter. Just starting to get a little movement there. It's not much more than the weight of the wrench tightening it. It's just so light. I don't want to put any, right there, I don't want any kind of crushing force or anything like that on these cells. And that's it. Now, I'm going to go back around because these will be a little bit different. When I get finished with putting the bus bars on, I'm just going to make sure that they're still snug. So, here we go. These bus bars are not, the spacing on these are not the same. And the way you know that is, every once in a while you get one, it won't fit. It'll fit there. That one will fit. That tells me these bus bars are not that accurate in the spacing that they use for them. And these are still the brass bus bars that came with this first batch of cells. All the bus bars that I've used so far in these batteries, those will all get replaced with copper bus bars pretty soon. But at the low amperages that we're working with on top balancing, and even the amperage that I'm using to put this energy from one battery into the other, it's small enough that these brass bus bars are adequate for that. They're just not adequate for big amperages that the batteries will see in their actual intended use. I'm going to also put labels on these, and I'll show you how I do that so that when we get done, we want all the labels to line up. But right now, every other one of these battery cells is going to get reversed when we go into series. And so I have to think that through, and I have to put the labels on so that every other one is upside down right now, so that when we put them into the final battery, they'll all be in alignment with one another. When I get ready to charge this battery up to top balance it, I'll probably get all kinds of comments on this. I don't mind. Discussion is good. I'm going to use all the chargers I have at the same time to charge this up. It takes a lot of amperage to run this, and these power supplies we can buy, unless we're going to spend a ton of money, they're very expensive for high amperage power supplies. So I will be, and have on all of them so far, be using most or all of the power supplies that I have. And that will move this process along to where I can get this top balanced in under 2 days. Otherwise, you hear the stories. These people, they try to use just a power supply like that, maybe a 10 amp power supply, and they may be 2 weeks trying to get these the top balancing done. And I'm building 16 of these batteries. I don't have that kind of time to spend on this. So when you have a nut left over, is that a problem, or does that just mean I'm a little nutty? All right. Now I'm going to set the torque wrench to 4 Newton meters. The final setting will be 5 Newton meters, but for this temporary, it's going to be 4. And we'll go to town. This is insulated, and this clear part where it looks like metal, it's also insulated. So it's only this length that is uninsulated. I wanted to get a video done when I put that battery together. I wanted to get a video done of that last night, but just trying to get too much done in one day. It's every video I say today was a big day, and every day is a big day. I try to set up methods because I don't want to leave one nut loose like I've done before. So I'm going to go ahead and tighten all the nuts, even though I'm going to be loosening a couple of them in order to hook up some of these power supplies. I've got some that use alligator clips and some that use ring terminals. And at the amperages that they're putting out, I have not been able to find any problem with either method. The bigger problem is just making sure that the wire that you have running is large enough. And on this EBC tester, which is, it can give me 40 amps at 3.65 volts. It has a very thin cable, but it's silicon insulation, and those wires get warm, but they seem to work out okay. All right, that's that. Now I'm going to put the labeling on. And this is battery number 4, cell number 1. These unique numbers are from the spreadsheet from when I first received them and tested them, before I tested them actually, when I weighed them and tested them for internal resistance. These are the unique numbers that are in my spreadsheet. And after testing, I've tested 132 cells, and then I took the Excel spreadsheet and I ordered it by capacity from lowest to highest. And I took the first battery, got the worst 16 cells. Actually, the solar generator booster pack got the worst 4 cells. And the next 16 went into the first battery, and the next 16 went into the second battery. This is the 4th battery, so we're getting a little bit higher in capacity. Each battery will have a little higher capacity, but that way you're not limiting the capacity of your battery by the weakest cell in the battery. So if I look at this battery, I can see that that's a negative terminal. And right here, I have a positive terminal. So this cell in the final battery is going to reverse. And I want the label to face me this way. So I'm going to put this one on upside down. And now I'm going to go ahead and every other one I'm going to put on upside down. And then when I reverse these around later, they'll be right side up. This is 4-9. And 4-9 is going to end up in the same orientation that it is right now. I'm going to put this one right side up. And every other one coming down this way will be right side up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So far, so good. Here is 6. Oops. Doesn't want to stick. There we go. Put this one upside down. And this is just handy for me. Later on, this will save me some time when I'm looking at things and trying to just confirm that the wires that I have labeled are going to the right one for those BMS sensing wires. Later today, I'm gonna go back outside and start running siding on the solar shed. I want to get that exterior all finished so that I can start working on the interior of it. And I'll come back in and I'll put the hinged doors on this one. And I'll clean up the wiring. I cleaned up the wiring on the last one this morning in the wee hours. Let's get it right. Don't make any mistakes. Yeah, I think this is the last one. It'll take so long, I guess. I guess if you're watching a video, it might have seemed like forever. Wait a minute. Where's 4, 4? Got a label missing. I don't see 4, 4. Looks like I'm gonna have to make one more label. Somehow I missed. All right, well, I'll come back to that. Take care of that later. Now, I'm gonna start connecting power supplies. And Time to power up some units. Got another one down here. Check voltages. This one is 58 volts. I definitely don't want to use that. That was for charging up an entire battery. And so I'm going to go to 3.65. Enter. And 14 amps, I think I want to change that to 18. Enter. So now 3.65, 18 amps. And I'll go ahead and now I'm going to put these in such a way where the juice is traveling through the battery. And if you're just doing one, it's a little easier to figure out. I've got 5 of these I'm putting on, so I'm just going to have them all over the place, and they're just going to be putting juice in. And I really don't think that that's a problem. I'm sure that some people will have a problem with that, but I don't think that that's a problem. I'm just adjusting the voltage on this one to get it to 3.65. There it is, 3.65. Oh yeah, this one needs to change too, doesn't it? This was charging up a 12-volt battery because I charged up the solar generator before I took it to my friend. And this one I'm going to go ahead and crank right on up. It will not give me more than about 25 amps or so because these batteries are not empty. But good enough. All right, now I think I'll got a negative here. I think I'll put this first one on this terminal. And I'll go ahead and tighten it up so I don't forget to come back and do that. Click, click. And to bring that juice all the way through the battery, I can come to here and it'll have to go through the whole battery. I think when you start hooking up multiple power supplies, it changes the whole dynamic of that. But maybe I'm not really smart enough to understand it. What I do know is that this works, and even with these brass bus bars, when I'm testing the cells, I'm getting similar results on all of them. And I'm going to go ahead and turn this off to hook it up. And I think I'll maybe hook it up here. And this one is only, I think this one is the 5 amp. No, this is a 10 amp. So this first one I've put on, it's going to give me close to 18 amps. That's good. Maybe it's only going to give me 12. It depends. You know, as it gets closer to fully charged, it's going to give me less. We'll see soon enough because I'm going to turn all these on soon. All right. Now, this is Big Daddy. I'm gonna just put this here and here. And then I have this Big Daddy. And I'm gonna put it here. Yeah, I'll put it here. And we'll put it here. So, oh, one more. We'll just put this one here. This is just a 5 amp. And it is putting in just over 5 amps. Now let's turn this one on. And it is putting in 7 amps. And we'll turn on the output of this one. And it is putting in 20 amps. Let's go ahead and start this one. It is putting in just under 12 amps. This one will put in 40. And we will start it here. Now, if you add that up, I've got 40 amps, 61, got 13 here, 74, call it 81, 86. So I'm putting 86 amps into this battery pack. It will take some time. 86 amps into the battery pack, and this inverter, well, the shunt, is saying that I'm using 655 watts to do that. And that makes sense. The numbers work out with the inefficiency of this inverter. And so now I'm capacity testing this battery while top balancing this one, and all of that 600 watts for the next 2 days won't be wasted. It will be going into this one. So some of it will be wasted into heat, but a cold front came through last night, so I'll take that heat and use it to stay warm. All right, well, this is a little longer video than normal, but it takes this long to do this. I'll have a little bit of buttoning up and cleaning up to do after we're finished, and I really appreciate y'all staying with me. This is, I want to get every step of the process. I want to do a complete tutorial of what I'm doing. Others will do things differently, and you have to make your own decision about how you do these things. But this is what I'm doing, and this is working for me. So, we'll keep going. On the next video in this series, I'll be showing you how I take this top balanced battery and turn it into that 48 volt usable battery. And it's always nice when you do all of that wiring and you plug it all up and you hit the reset and the BMS comes on, and all of a sudden you've got everything working. This Uh-oh. Do I have a problem with a connector? I think I have a problem with a connector. Well, it's making energy, but I have to get that connector corrected so that I can tell what's happening with my, there we go. Something's going on. And I don't know what the problem is. I'll probably swap this out with one and see what's happening there. So here we go. There's the cells. I've got quite a bit of variation. It looks like 3317 all the way up to 3368. That'll come a lot closer together when we get off of the knee. It's up really high right now. It's up on the knee, and so that'll come down. All right, that's it, y'all. Thank you very much. Like, subscribe, share this with your friends. Let's keep this going. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.